You don't just have bad luck with people. You're unconsciously choosing what feels familiar even when it hurts. And the scary part, your mind thinks it's protecting you. If this keeps happening in your relationships, stay with me. Here's what's really happening in your brain. Think about it. Different names, different faces, same story. You meet someone new and feel hopeful. This one feels different. They understand me. I finally got it right. But slowly, the pattern reveals itself. They become distant. They stop showing up. They take more than they give. You start shrinking, explaining, overthinking, and at some point, you realize you're back in the same emotional place you've been before. You might say, why does this keep happening to me? Why do I always attract people like this? Is something wrong with me? If that question has ever crossed your mind, you're not broken. You're patterned. Your brain is wired to seek what feels familiar, not what's healthy. From a young age, your nervous system learned what connection feels like. It learned how love sounds, how attention shows up, how safety behaves, and whatever environment you grew up in, a chaotic, distant, unpredictable, critical, your mind internalized it as normal. So later in life, when you meet someone who carries a similar emotional signature, something clicks. Not because they're good for you, but because they feel recognizable. Your body reads that familiarity as safety, even when your mind knows better. This is the dark psychology behind repeated patterns in relationships. You don't attract the same people because you're cursed. You attract them because your brain is drawn to emotional patterns it already knows how to survive. By the end of this video, you'll understand why chemistry can be misleading, how your past quietly shapes your choices, and what has to shift for the pattern to finally break. Not with blame, with clarity. Here's the part most people never realize. The people you're drawn to often reflect an unfinished emotional story inside you. You're not looking for love. You're looking for resolution. Your mind is replaying a familiar dynamic, hoping this time it ends differently. You choose the emotionally unavailable person because a part of you believes, if I can finally be enough for them, I'll heal something old. You choose the controlling person because your nervous system learned early that love comes with pressure. You choose the distant person because closeness once felt unsafe. It's not attraction, it's repetition. Your brain is trying to rewrite the past using the present. But here's what happens when the pattern stays unconscious. You start doubting yourself. Standards lower. You normalize emotional strain. You confuse intensity with connection. And slowly, a belief forms. Maybe this is all I deserve. Maybe this is just how relationships are. Maybe I'm asking for too much. That belief doesn't come from truth. It comes from repetition. And every time the cycle repeats, it feels more permanent. Not because it is, but because it's familiar. This isn't about blaming your past. And it's not about fixing yourself. It's about awareness. The moment you see the pattern, it starts losing power, because what feels normal isn't always what's healthy, and what feels boring at first might actually be peace. Your mind didn't choose these patterns to hurt you. It chose them because they once helped you survive. But survival isn't the same as fulfillment, and you don't have to keep living inside old emotional rules. Next time you feel drawn to someone, don't ask, do I like them? Ask, do they feel familiar or do they feel safe? Familiarity feels intense, safe feels calm. One keeps you stuck, the other lets you grow. And when you notice yourself romanticizing emotional distance, unpredictability, or pressured pause, not to judge, but to recognize, this isn't attraction, this is memory. That awareness alone begins to change what you choose. You don't attract the same people because you're broken. You do it because your mind learned a pattern and kept repeating it. But patterns can change, not overnight, not perfectly, just consciously. And the moment you start choosing what feels safe instead of what feels familiar, everything shifts. What kind of person do you keep attracting, and what might that be trying to tell you?